All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man, Jay Woods. You can see I am downloading Android Pie for my Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite. I was sitting around, I was, just thinking about all the devices that I have on Android Pie, and I forgot about this one. And so as soon as I fired it up, it gave me the update for Android Pie. Right now, it's currently on 8.1.0. And this is really good that they're deciding to update these devices to the latest firmware and software, because these devices are really good. This is an Android 1 device, by the way, so it should get all the updates. The Mi A1 I have got Android Pie, and the Mi A2 got Android Pie now. Several phones I have in the catalog now have Android Pie. I think it's pretty impressive that they're able to get these pushed out. So I'm going to get this updated here. It adds an FM radio, gives adaptive battery and brightness, and then it just says a simpler way to navigate. And it recommends that you update the apps and everything. So, but it's going to have the gestures, and I'm curious if they're going to take away the ability to have the home buttons at the bottom, because I really enjoy the home buttons. But we're going to find out here shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and update the phone. As you can see here, I'm still running on Android Pie or Android Oreo. So let's update the phone, and then I'll be back once this is finished, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's all set up. All right, so here we are. As you can see, I still have my navigation buttons, but this Google search bar is now down here at the bottom. So you swipe up like this. This one's up to date. I'm wondering how this was going to be, and they put this Google search bar here, and there's no way to remove that, which is just looks crazy to me. But you've got the system preferences up here. You got all the different things here. Looks kind of weird, but let's get into settings here. And you can see the settings have been updated with all the new colored icons. Let's go to advanced, and you're on Android 9 right there. You're on the December security patch. This was on the November security patch, but it's kind of strange. Let's go to gestures down here and see, swipe up from home button. So you can change it to look like this. You can change the buttons on and off, which is pretty good. But it's still kind of strange. It looks better like this because those buttons just don't look right. It just looks weird like that. So you swipe up, you've got all your navigation like this now, which is pretty cool. I think it's gonna do okay like this. This will be fine. I think it's kind of strange though. They have this bar down here, and then they've got the weather and date up here. It pretty much looks exactly like my Pixel device, Pixel 3. You see, same thing. I just have my bar customized on this one for a black bar, which you can customize a widget on some of these. That's just the way it is. But this is it, man. It's now on Android Pie. Real brief video for you. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I'll give you an update on battery. This phone already had killer battery, so I'll give you an update on the battery. But just going through the settings and everything here, back to this area here. This is where you have the gestures. You can hit the jump to camera. You can swipe up from the home button. I think I'm actually going to leave it like this because I don't like how it looks with the buttons down there. But this is it. It is now on Android Pie, which is pretty cool. I'm liking it. Let's find that FM radio that they said was installed in here now. There it is right there, FM radio. So if I plug in my headphone jack, which I do have headphones, plug those in, and I will be able to listen to local stations if I want to. So there it is, man. The phone's already fast and everything, so we'll see how this works out. All this is pretty much still the same with the way this was set up. It was like this prior to that. So really curious to see. Now you got the new navigation here for the volume and everything, which is really good. So there it is, man. Android Pie is, stock Android isn't anything exciting, unfortunately for a lot of people. They don't think it's really exciting. But I feel like stock Android is, what Android should have stayed, overall. Like the other OEMs pretty much should have been able to just use their skin and then use the App Store. But I think stock Android is probably going to always be one of my favorites. amongst all Android devices that I use. Stock Android phones just do very well, and the fact that this phone you can have it for under 200 bucks, and it's a stock Android device. When you think about some of the specs that this phone has, it's really killing it, man. It's got a 5.8 inch 1080p display. The 12 megapixel cameras on the rear here are really solid. It's got a headphone jack. There's different variants of it. You've got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery inside, a Snapdragon 625. I have the 3 gig, 32 gig model, and there's a 4 gig, 64 gig model as well. You just got a lot going on here for the price, and that is what it comes down to. You have an SD card slot. It's just going to be a heck of a phone. And this was one of the phones that I advised you to pick over the LG G Stylo 4. The Stylo 4 just wasn't one of my best purchases. I just really disliked it. But overall, this phone right here, and the Stylo 4, not to beat up on that phone, but it won't be getting Android Pie anytime soon that I'm aware of. But just the fact that we have Android Pie now on this device is fantastic. I gotta admit, on this phone, it just looks a little weird. Even though I have this on the Pixel, and I've had it on the Pixel for a long time, the status bar down there, I guess I was just so used to having it at the top. So it'll grow on me like every other thing. You muscle memory kicks in, and then you're fine. So the fact that Xiaomi is updating these phones to Android Pie says a lot about it. I mean, this is an Android One device, but even their phones that are non Android One devices are starting to get Android Pie. So this is a plus. This is what we want. We want these phones to get Android Pie. We want them to stay updated with the latest software, and this is a good thing. So check your phone out and see if you got Android Pie on it. And the Xiaomi Mi A2 got it a while ago, and this phone, I just didn't turn it on. I knew it was going to get it, but I just was so busy with other things. But I decided to pick it up because I was actually picking phones to take to CES, and this will probably be one of them. The fact that it has a headphone jack is important to me. Walking around CES, I don't want to use Bluetooth because I don't want to have to worry about charging another thing. And I think it's going to be a good phone, even better phone now, because I used this a lot when I first got it, and this is just going to make me use it even more. Let's go into the camera real quick and see. You still got the portrait, you got a panorama, you got video and everything. Let's go into settings up here, and you've got 1080p at 60 frames per second. Wow. I don't recall if that was there before. I don't recall, but I'll go back and look at some of my previous videos. But 1080p at 60 frames per second is definitely going to be nice. Maybe I'll put a sample at the end of this video. It's your man Jay Will. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. All right, here's a quick video sample. What they've done is they've added 60 frames per second. Focus. They've added 60 frames per second for the cameras, and I think that's very, very good of them. They did well. So I just wanted to shoot some different footage of things, give you a quick sample. Audio is probably still going to be really good. Everything about the phone, I've liked it. I've always liked it. I'm just grabbing phones here to keep some kind of show you how it looked. But yeah, the phone is actually really nice, man. So adding 60 frames per second was actually pretty cool. It does have a gyro EIS, is what it says, for stabilization at 30 frames per second. So this is 60 though, so I'm just kind of manually focusing it here. That's pretty good. These cameras have always been pretty good to me, and I could appreciate it. So all right, there's your video sample.